What is going on? So we're here on the Conquer YouTube channel, and I'm going to talk about exercise selection. And we're going to talk about why exercise selection matters and why it sometimes matters more than sets and reps. So most people think progress comes from trying harder, more sets, more intensity, more sweat. But the truth is your results are largely determined before you even start the workout. That's based on the exercise selection. Exercise selection is the difference between training that actually builds muscle strength and capacity and training that creates fatigue, beats up joints, and or stalls progress. So today I'm going to look to break down how to choose the right exercises for growth and adaptation while reducing injury risk, and why good exercises can be the wrong choice depending upon the athlete in front of you. And when I say good exercises, I'm referring to quotation marks, so like good exercises with proper exercise selection, and base those are around who is that person standing in front of me. Exercise selection is simply choosing movements that create the stimulus you want for the person you're coaching with the least amount of unnecessary risk. Think about that. It's choosing the movements that create the stimulus you want for the person you're coaching with the least amount of unnecessary risk. It's not what's cool. It's not what's hard. It's not what you saw on Instagram. It's simply stimulus to adaptation to repeatability. If the exercise doesn't create the right stimulus, you don't get the right adaptation. If it creates too much cost, you can't repeat it enough to grow. The stimulus has to be specific, right? So adaptation is your body's response to a specific stimulus. If you want muscle, you need tension in the targeted tissue, proximity failure with enough volume. If you want strength, you need high force, repeatable practice of key positions, and progressive loading. If you want an engine, you need targeted work at the right energy system, not random suffering. So the question isn't, is this exercise good? It's, does this exercise create the stimulus I'm chasing? For example, if the goal is leg strength and hypertrophy, a heavy squat might be great. But if the person can't keep positions, the squat becomes a low back hip hinge shift exercise, not a quad glute exercise. So the stimulus is missed, but more importantly, the risk of injury goes up. Exercise has to match the athlete. This is where coaches mess it up. They pick exercises based on the top 1 to 2% and scale down for the rest. Instead, pick movements based on your athlete, the avatar of your athlete or who the athlete is. We're thinking about their training age, mobility and limb structure, injury history, tolerance to volume, and what they can repeat week after week. There are always three main questions you got to ask yourself as a coach. Can they do it well? Can they hold the positions? Can they do it with intensity? And can they repeat it? Can they do it often? If the answer is no to any of those three, it's usually a bad choice for long-term growth. We always need to think about a high stimulus with low cost. That's what's always going to win. Every exercise has a stimulus to fatigue ratio and a stimulus to risk ratio. Your job is to choose the movements that give a high tension stimulus, low technical breakdown, low joint irritation with high repeatability. That's why a lot of great programs use variations. Front squats instead of max back squat with some athletes, possibly a trap bar deadlift instead of a conventional deadlift. Split squats, lunges to build strength without overloading the spine too heavy if they're not ready for it. Dumbbell pressing for the shoulder if they don't love barbell volume. This doesn't mean avoid hard lifts. It means you have to earn them and then use them strategically. Exercise selection can also be thought of as injury prevention. A big part of injury prevention is simply don't put athletes in positions they can't control under fatigue. Think about that. A big part of injury prevention is us as coaches not putting athletes in positions that they cannot control under fatigue. Most injuries aren't from one rep. We have to keep that in mind. They're from thousands of slightly bad reps done when people are tired, moving too fast, or chasing intensity when they're not ready. We have to protect athletes by selecting exercises that maintain structure when heart rate climbs and don't rely on perfect timing to be safe and can scale cleanly without changing the intent. So some simple examples of this. Seated walking lunges before heavy back squats for newer lifters. Ring rows before kipping pull-ups for athletes who can't control or don't have good proper shoulder stability. Dumbbell push press before barbell cycling for athletes who lose overhead position. And the key word is this: tolerance. Training is about building what the body can tolerate. Think about that. Training is about building what the body can tolerate. The selection must match the phase and the goal. Our exercise selection always has to match the phase and the goal. A lot of coaches pick exercises in a volume, but selection should change based on the phase. So think about your accumulation building phase. We're thinking about stable patterns, full tempos, possibly higher reps, building tissue and positions. Your intensification phase, we're gonna have more specific lifts, heavier loading, fewer variations, and higher force. Your peaking competition prep, if you get there, that's gonna be the most specific version of what we're doing. Is under the exact fatigue that we can expect and has strict limits to manage risk. Some athletes, same athlete, different phase, different selection. So here's the simplest framework to remember to keep with you when choosing to exercise. Ask yourself, what adaptation am I chasing? Does this exercise create that stimulus for this athlete? What's the cost, meaning fatigue, joint, skill, time? Can we progress it from week to week? Can we repeat it consistently? Because the best exercise is one that you can do well, load progressively, recover from, and repeat long enough to adapt. Think about that again. The best exercise is the one that you can do well, you can load progressively, you can recover from, and you can repeat long enough to adapt to it. So if you're a coach out there and you want better results with less breakdown, stop chasing novelty. Get diligent and ruthless with your exercise selection. I hope you guys found this video helpful. Stay in tune for the next one. If you want to hear more about our individuals on programming at Conquer Athlete, check out the video link below. If you want to hear more about our mentorship for coaches, check out the link